Divine healing, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Collective Consciousness. My name is Tiny. I'm your host, and I'm so happy to welcome you to the show where we focus on expanding your consciousness. This show is designed for individuals who are on their road to self-mastery. So if that's an individual like yourself, take this moment and smash that subscribe button down below. Today, we are continuing from an episode from last week. So if you missed last week's episode, the link is going to be here down below for you. What we're talking about is the 12 universal laws. So let's just pick up where we left off. Welcome back. Okay, so just to recap what we discussed last week, we talked about the law of oneness. We talked about the law of vibration, law of correspondence, law of attraction, inspired action, and the law of cause and effect. This week, let's get right on in. And if you did miss last week, just to recap, these universal laws are going to help you understand the inner workings of the universe and how to manifest a lot easier, how to make your manifestation stick. So to continue on, the law of compensation is our next one. So the law of compensation is a law of cause and effect that is applied to like blessings and abundance that is provided for us. So it's the visible effects of our deeds that are given to us as gifts, monies, inheritances, friendships, and blessings. So on a microscopic level, everything requires currency, okay? So you have to give something to get something. That's how it works, okay? So when you think on a like cellular level, when you eat the right foods, right, your cells respond in a way that makes them vibrate at a higher frequency. So the compensation would be the higher frequency vibration, the compensation for you eating right? So that would be the currency. I ate right, so I received a higher vibration. Does that make sense? So let's talk about it on like more of a macroscopic level. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. So when I was living in Las Vegas back in 2017, I was pretty broke, like down to the last $20 broke. And I had given a homeless person a good chunk of that $20 that I had left, and in that moment, I did not know where my next money was going to come from, but I just noticed that person was, a little worse off than I was, the theory of relativity, right? Or the law of relativity. So in that moment, I felt like, okay, well, I know that it's going to come back to me. I know that I'm going to get my money at some way, somehow, I don't know. So I would give, and every time I gave a little bit from what I had, I always got it back. Not even a couple days later, I had gotten like a deposit in my bank account that I was unexpectedly awaiting. I was definitely awaiting for it, but it was an unexpected deposit for sure. So my point in all of this is the universe finds a way to give you and gift you and reward you for the certain energies that you put out. When you help someone else, you're helping yourself, right? The law of divine oneness. My favorite law, the law of divine oneness. When I helped out that homeless man, I was helping out myself because in turn, I ended up getting a deposit. I had no idea. I could have been like, I only have $20 and like brushed him off and kept about my business, right? But that would have been hurting me by hurting him, right? So the law of compensation, it's a good law. Use it to your benefit. Put out good deeds so you can receive them in return from the universe. All right, the next law, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This law states that all persons have within them the power to change conditions in their lives. Higher vibrations consume and transform lower ones. Thus, each of us can change the energies in our lives by understanding the universal laws and applying the principles in such a way as to affect change. So on a microscopic level, on an energetic level. If you feel sad because of a set of conditions, let's say you feel sad because of a certain set of conditions, right? That is a certain frequency. And by changing your vibration, which means changing your thought pattern, you are able to change the outcome of those conditions based on that transmuted energy. So, okay, what does that mean? Let's get into it. So, there's a story I want to tell you guys. It's a story I got from Dean Graciosi. He was talking about farming or whatever. But stick with me for the sake of the story. So, let's say this farmer, Ben, he gets in his tractor and he just, it's his first, he just bought the land or whatever. He gets in his tractor and he does his farming routine every day the same way. So as he's driving his tractor, he goes the same route every day to fertilize, to do whatever he needs to do, right? So as you go the same route every day, you kind of dig these ruts into the earth in the direction that those wheels go, right? So you can parallel, this is it's a true story, but it's also like a parable. Parallel this to what happens in our brain. So we create neural pathways. We go the same way, go the same way, go the same way until we have these ruts. Now he can just get in his tractor after like a couple of years and just hit go, and he doesn't even really have to steer the thing because it's already gonna follow the rut, right? But let's say, for example, that rut is literally that, a rut. Let's say it is struggling in finances. Let's say it is instability in your home life. Let's say it is a issue with your relationship. Let's say it is anything. It could be anything, right? You are stuck in that rut. You are stuck in that everyday same movement, same action, same routine, right? That's not serving you at this point. You're in a rut. But one day, the farmer decides to just turn the wheel a little bit of the tractor. Not a lot, just like a 1/4 degree turn. What does that do? You're in a rut and you just do a 1/4 degree turn. That pulls you out into another direction, right? It takes you into another direction. You then move into another direction. You're not going to get to the same place. Let's say like you go in that direction for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? How far are you from the end of that path than you are now after just making that little adjustment, that 1/4 inch of, or 1/4 of a turn, right? We can do that with our lives. We can do that with our minds. Whatever frequency you're on, you can change it just by shifting that perspective, just by turning the wheel a little bit, right? When we have those moments of like self-doubt or insecurity or envy or jealousy or anything like that, right? All it takes is a change in perspective. And you know the easiest, the best way to do it? Find something you're grateful for. Express gratitude. That's how you do it. Okay. So when you transmute that energy and change it into a more positive energy, guess what? The positive energy then eats the negative energy. And that's how the energy is transmuted. That's how you change the outcome based on a set of certain circumstances. The next one, the law of relativity. This law states that each person will receive a series of problems, tests of initiation, for the purpose of strengthening the light within. We must consider each of these tests to be a challenge and to remain connected to our hearts when proceeding to solve the problems. This law also teaches us to compare our problems to others' problems and to put everything into the proper perspective. No matter how bad we may perceive our situation to be, there is always someone who is in a position worse than us. It is all relative. In science, we see this theory as a form of, from an objective standpoint. This is the notion that the laws of physics are the same everywhere. This theory explains the behavior of objects in space and time, and it can be used to predict everything from the existence of black holes to light bending to due to gravity and to behavior of the planet Mercury in its orbit. On a macroscopic level, this law is important to understand when working to dissolve your ego. It helps you to see perspectives, not necessarily from your own. So it basically just helps you see things from other perspectives, which I believe is very important, and it's necessary when it comes to dissolving your ego. It's a necessary law to understand, for sure. The law of polarity. This one is the one that I did not want you to get confused with the law of correspondence. So the law of polarity states that everything is on a continuum and has an opposite. So we can suppress and transform undesirable thoughts by concentrating on the opposite pole. So it's like the law of mental vibrations. So on a microscopic level, electrons, protons, magnets, and magnetic fields, they all have opposites, right? The positive charge, the negative charge, right? Positive electron, proton, positive, negative, right? Okay. However, there's also on a macroscopic level, light and dark, right? Yin and yang, day and night, right? Even though everything is still continuous, day and night is continuous, they're still polar opposites, right? North and south, male and female, right? We see these polarities and duality in everything. The balance of polarity is necessary to have a fully balanced life. Remember that. The law of rhythm. The law of rhythm states that everything vibrates and moves at certain rhythms. These rhythms establish seasons, cycles, and stages of developments and patterns. Each cycle reflects regularity of God's universe. Masters know how to rise above negative parts of a cycle by never getting too excited or not allowing negative things to penetrate their consciousness. So on a microscopic level, within our bodies, we have a very specific rhythm that belongs to the individual. Do you know what rhythm that is? Your cardiac rhythm, right? The rhythm of your heartbeat, the rhythm that your blood pumps through your body. Everyone has a different heartbeat. Everyone has a different rhythm that they move to, right? But let's look at it like more on a macroscopic level. Let's get really macro. Let's look at the rising of the sun and the moon every day, right? That is a planetary breath, a cycle that we go through every day where the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and the moon follows in a cyclical fashion. How cool is that, right? We are living through every day is like a breath in and out on the planet. How amazing is that? And then the last one, law of gender. So I want to be very clear that this does not relate to what gender you associate yourself with or what gender that you were born with or anything like that. It's not a physical gender. These are energies, right? So the law of gender states that everything has its masculine and its feminine principles, yin and yang, and that these are the basis for all creation. The spiritual initiate must balance the masculine and feminine energies with herself or himself to become a master and a true co-creator with God. So on a microscopic level, when these energies are imbalanced on an energetic level in the spiritual, right, they can manifest imbalances in the physical body. So for example, if you have too much masculine energy, it can create hormonal imbalances. It can create, as a female, it can create hormonal imbalance, or as a male as well. Having too much is not necessarily good. It's important to keep everything balanced, just like everything in our universe is perfectly balanced. If our earth shifted off its axis by like 0.1 of a degree, we'd be dead, right? Balance is key. Okay, so what it might look like for an imbalanced masculine energy, right? We could call that toxic masculinity. We can also call it just toxic behaviors. What it could look like is hunger for power, greed, lack of creativity or room for uncertainty. There is no room for uncertainty when it comes to someone who has toxic masculine traits, right? And let's talk about toxic feminine traits. Lack of self-love, allowing others to manipulate or get over on you, really spreading yourself too thin, being a people pleaser, waiting for someone to come and save you, right? When you have these balanced energies, you then know when to take control. You know when to assert yourself in a certain situation. You know that self-love is key. You tap into that self-love. You use that to fuel you as part of your driving force energy. Okay? So, yes, those are the 12 laws. And what I want for you guys this week, I want you to put them all together, and I want you to journal. I want you to journal how these laws affect your life and what laws do you think you can utilize to help manifest what it is you're trying to manifest in your life. Go ahead and put down in the comments if this was helpful information for you. Tell me if you learned a lot. Tell me if there's something else that you would like to learn, anything like that. I appreciate every single one of you for joining me every week. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, blissful week. Asè and Namaste. Right.